Hey, Drew, man.
Hey, Brett.
Um, yeah, remember when I said last week I thought Auburn had a real shot?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, I do remember that.
Let's just fast forward to this week.
Yeah.
You know, Early, sometimes them football boosters will provide your family with a car or even house if you keep nice and quiet about it. They're gonna do what now?
Welcome to the place where if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying is a way of life.
Just keep it down home, cuz.
Where degenerate gamblers can congregate in peace.
Money, money, yeah. Money, money, yeah.
Where screaming at 20-year-old kids on TV is just another Saturday.
Every fiber in your bone, and you take it and you beat the piss out of them. I'm talking about beat the piss out of them. Let's go whip their ass. Let's go.
Where game days don't end until the Rainbow Warriors say so.
Look out, Purdy is really good. What is he doing? What is Brock Purdy doing? Maybe the first quarter.
They are the bagmen that Danny Sheridan never found.
I went to him with a strong-ass offer.
And it all comes to you with a splash of bourbon on the side. Woo! This is the Friends of the Program podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into yet another episode of Friends of the Program. I'm Brad. He's Drew. As we get set to talk about the college football season continuing, what happened last week. We're going to get into the misery for us that was the Auburn Tigers, but we're not going to talk long about it. We promise, not just because we don't want to skip over it quickly, but also there's a lot of good stuff that happened last week that needs to be addressed. Make sure real quick before we get going that you follow us at Friends of the Program on YouTube by searching. You can also go to Twitter, FOT Podcast. Same for Instagram, FOT Podcast. And search for Friends of the Program via your favorite Spotify or iTunes subscription. Drew, my friend, how are you doing, bud?
Doing well, Brad. Just soaking in all of this sports goodness that we have. I've actually got my here in my wall of office that you can't see. I've got a baseball game right here to my left, and just had to shut down my NHL computer, so we're ready to go. We're focused in on college football,
and you get the fight that is Kamala Harris and Mike Pence tonight. So
yeah, that's true.
That should be fun.
Hopefully, everybody's wearing their mask. Nobody wants to get.
I think they actually put up like plexiglass between them or something.
Well, I mean, that's just so Kamala doesn't come across. And she's got claws. Kitty's got claws.
All right, man. What you drinking tonight?
Tonight we are going to go with something that my wife got me a few years ago to pour a little bit out for our lost frontman Eddie Van Halen. We are going to go with Bob Dylan's own Heaven's Door.
Okay.
So trying to bring in a lot there, but it's a double barrel. The one that I have here, it's 100 proof. Fantastic. Very smooth. He did a very good job. I want to say that this was one of the first editions that he put out back in 2018.
So hot take. I'm one of the few people you'll meet who hates Bob Dylan. Just can't stand him.
Oh, I know.
I drink the bourbon. I just can't stand him.
I was about to say, yeah. It's sometimes. But so I'm going to bring it in.
So Auburn tapped me out of all my bourbon and whiskey the other night.
To be fair, we would be drinking. I was hoping to be drinking this tonight.
Oh, the Blantons.
But you know what Blanton's is for?
It's for winners.
It's for winners.
Yeah.
And that's not what we were this week. So
I went filthy. The dude abides, sir. I went old white Russian. The dude abides with a white Russian tonight.
Oh, yes, he does.
Mm-hmm. If they're going to play filthy, I'm going to drink filthy. That's the way this works.
Oh, the muddy water. Oh.
All right. So we got to start in Athens last week. It was the biggest game of the weekend via ranked teams. Number 4, Georgia just dismantled Auburn 27-6. Of course, we're Auburn folks, so we took that a bit hard. I didn't see it coming. You kind of did. You said that we haven't played well in Athens for a decade or more, and that trend continued. But what I didn't see happening was just how dominant Georgia was at the line of scrimmage.
And that's sort of been my point of contention for this year. It's why I went, I'm trying to think, 2016 to go recent memory, 2008, or even back to 1999 as far as my expectations for Auburn goes, just because there really hasn't been an offensive line recruitment under Gus Malzahn that has gone well, at least since 2016 or 15.
Yeah, it's been 4 or 5 years.
It's been few and far between. And just even though I trust Kevin Steele on the defensive side of things, and he did things, but you don't subtract Marlon Davidson, and Derek Brown and Chandler Wooten, who is opting out this year. You don't subtract players like that, even though Chandler's not an NFL premier prospect right now.
Good college football player.
He's a good college football player and a good leadership player.
Yeah.
You don't subtract those kind of players. So even with Auburn's secondary help, I was hoping things might go in the Tigers' direction. But
then Auburn lost their starting cornerback before the game and then the starting safety in the first 4 minutes, and that took out the secondary completely.
Absolutely, and everything sort of blew up from there. So it's why when we were talking about, I believe back in the SEC preview, why I said I don't know if this Auburn football team is going to be an 8-2 kind of team or a 5-5. I just don't know. And we saw the 5-5 team show up in Athens last weekend.
It could easily be a Jekyll and Hyde type team. The next few weeks, you would think by name brand, Auburn has a chance to get right. Arkansas this week, Ole Miss the week after. But I mean, do you really want to play a Lane Kiffin team right now? If you're
you mean South Carolina,
South Carolina, and then Ole Miss. Sorry, that's right.
Yes. But even then, for anybody that's a junkie like I am, and went back and watched what happened in that Mississippi State-Arkansas game, that was no fluke.
Oh, Arkansas
I know I'm jumping
beat Mississippi State up.
They beat them at the line, which, oh, by the way, is how Georgia just did it to Auburn. So, and especially if this hurricane decides to hit right at the right time, and from what I've been told, good offensive lines and good defensive lines enjoy sure footing. And even though Jordan-Hare Stadium is a fantastically drained playing surface, a hurricane is a hurricane, and it drops a lot of rain. So I can only imagine if good footing helps good offensive lines, bad footing increases the badness of an offensive or defensive line. So you can say that this is a roll out the helmets game for Auburn and get back to right.
Not if the weather doesn't hold. I'm not convinced. Even if it does hold, it still could be a dogfight for
I think it will be a dogfight. Period.
And I think we have to talk about Georgia for a second too. And kudos to Stetson Bennett. I mean, I'll be honest. That was one of my biggest things of why I picked against Georgia last week, was because I didn't see a walk-on quarterback who's played all of one half of football at the college level come on. And he spun the ball into tight windows. He played smart football. Credit to the coaching staff for Georgia for putting him in good situations to throw the football. But he was impressive.
Absolutely. Against a very good Auburn secondary. And I have no problem saying that the Auburn secondary is good. Even without Smoke Monday and Auburn being at 100%, it's still a very good secondary. Georgia did a fantastic job of putting Stetson Bennett into positions, just like you said, to have early success and build that confidence. And it also helps that Auburn didn't have a pass rush whatsoever to speak of. We got to see it. We saw it in the first half against Kentucky, and it just progressed even further into this Georgia game, which is very scary for for Auburn fans with the likes of Arkansas. And even though I don't think he's a great quarterback, Felipe Franks, he's very seasoned. He's a seasoned veteran. And then Colin Hill with South Carolina, and then Matt Corral / John Rice Plumlee against Ole Miss. It's a very scary stretch for the Tigers that could tailspin real bad, real quick.
I want to pivot back to Georgia. How does their performance this past week shape your view now of their game in 2 weeks where they go to Tuscaloosa?
I still think Alabama's the best football team on the planet right now in college football, in my opinion. I think Clemson's very, very close. I think that'll be a game that I sit down and watch as a college football professor and break down the film. I can't wait until we get to the playoffs and that game happens, and I get to watch the coaches' film room that they always have on ESPNU or ESPN News or whatever. it's one of my favorite things to do whenever the national championship is going on, and I don't care who wins. Georgia's defense will keep them in every game, period. I'm concerned about this game because Tennessee's offensive and defensive line, this will be the Tennessee-Georgia game will be what the Auburn-Georgia game should be.
You're talking about Tennessee-Georgia this coming week.
Yes, I am. I'm jumping ahead. I still don't think Georgia has enough to beat Alabama, just for the sheer fact that they've only still got George Pickens. I know what I saw with the wide receivers and everything like that. Auburn was a beaten team from kickoff. That game was over as the ball was being kicked off. But I'm more concerned for Georgia with the look ahead to Alabama this weekend against Tennessee. Tennessee's got the offensive and defensive lines that Auburn should have. Plain bar none. I don't think Jarrett Garantano or whatever, Garantano, I don't think he has enough firepower to put up points against that Georgia defense. If Bo Nix can't make it happen and can only put up 6 points on 2 field goals, which probably should have been 2 touchdowns, I don't see Tennessee doing that. However, Tennessee does have the offensive lines that can move people around and get those running lanes open for Gray and the other running backs up on Rocky Top. I think that this is going to be a great football game in Athens this weekend. But as far as Georgia, Alabama, we'll talk about that later. But as far as Georgia, Alabama goes, I still don't think Georgia's the best team in the East. So I can't say that they're going to be. Yeah, I still do.
Yeah, and we talked in the SEC preview. Why do people believe in Texas A&M? Why do they call them a threat to Alabama? Well, just showed again they're not a threat to Alabama until a lot of things change. I need to see that they're even a threat to LSU and Auburn still, and I don't trust Auburn right now, and I don't trust LSU.
No.
But until you can consistently climb that ladder, I'm not putting you in the same league with Alabama.
Absolutely.
But Mac Jones, and I said it at the beginning of the year, he is criminally underrated. And now he's got weapons galore.
Sure.
And not everybody's going to have a Jalen Waddle to throw to who's open every play. It's like Tyreek Hill at the college level that guy.
It's unfair.
It's completely unfair. But Mac Jones can play, man. That guy can absolutely spin the football.
He absolutely can, and I completely agree. I agreed with you before the season, and it's why whenever I ran into Alabama fans that would talk about how, we've got this kid coming up, he's supposed to take over, and Tuli is going to take over, and you've got a quarterback. You've got the quarterback. Don't worry about quarterback. Mac Jones can get the job done. The only thing that got him into trouble is he floated one pass.
Yeah.
Literally, he threw one bad pass and floated it right to Smoke Monday against Auburn. The other one was the most literal fluke play I've ever seen in my entire life, bouncing off the back of Najee Harris, and it just happened to go 100 yards for an interception return for a touchdown. Other than that, he's been perfect.
He was great in the Michigan game and the bowl game.
I have not seen anything to critique of Mac Jones except for one pass. And
the thing you have to remember with Mac Jones, he's yet to start against a cream puff. He's played nothing but Power 5 competition as a starter.
Yeah. You can call Missouri Power 5, but it's still on the road in the SEC to start the season.
Yeah. He's played his games as a starter. Let's list this off. He just played his first home game as a starter this past week.
Yeah.
At Auburn, on our bowl game against Michigan, at Missouri, and he finally got to go home and play Texas A&M. Those are his 4.
It's only
he's only going to get better.
Yeah. No, and you're going to see that. You're just going to see him do nothing but blossom.
I'm not even sure. Oh, they play Ole Miss this week. We'll get into that game. I can't wait for that football game.
That's just going to be fun.
All right, we got to switch over to the Big 12 real quick because
absolutely,
man, upsets everywhere in the Big 12 again, and they may have played themselves out of the playoff on October 3rd.
It's real. I mean, if if they aren't already over Wile E. Coyote's cliff, they are doing that little teensy foot dance.
I'm going to start here in Central Texas, where the Longhorns lose for the 6th time in 7 tries against TCU. Yeah, you didn't know that one?
Do that one more time.
Yeah, the Longhorns, Texas, has lost 6 of 7 to TCU, a program they consider well beneath them. Texas fans are constantly talking about winning the Big 12. Beat TCU.
Beat TCU.
Worry about the Big 12 when you beat TCU.
I was talking with my wife. We went on a walk, very nice walk here this evening, enjoying the scenery. And I was going over, the pitfalls of what Gus Malzahn has gone through, playing the likes of LSU, Georgia, and Alabama, and in specific Georgia, where he has gone. I believe it's 8-2 now as head coach.
2-8, yeah, something like that. Yeah. No, it's 8 seasons. He's played them 9 times, so he's 2-7.
So 2-7. Against Georgia, and never won on the road at Alabama, LSU, or Georgia.
No, I think it's combined 0-15 or 0-17
something
now.
like that. Yeah, something along those lines. Which those are bad. That's not good. However, realize the teams that I just named: Alabama, who's won a national championship; LSU, who's won a national championship; and Georgia, who's been
lost
good.
It on the last play in overtime.
Yeah, like 2nd and 27. Was that away from a national championship? Thank God. But so now let's transition that to I'm Texas, and I've beaten TCU once in 7 tries.
The Fire Tom Herman train is real around here, and he's 3 seasons in now. Maybe.
Really?
Oh, it's very real around here.
Really?
Yeah.
We were back this time last week. We were back
after they beat Texas Tech in overtime. I mean, apparently that's good enough to be back. But yeah, the Fire Tom Herman train's picking up. There's a big push to go get Urban Meyer. People trying to Texas fans,
Bob
man.
Stoops.
Let me explain something to you guys. For those of you who don't know Texas fans. There is a belief by Texas fans that they could pretty much buy whatever they want. And if you say, come coach Texas or come play at Texas, you should automatically want to coach or play at Texas.
You know who's available? Mac Brown. He's doing pretty good.
Yeah, it turns out he's not that bad still up at North Carolina. I've even seen rumors of people wanting to go after Gus of all things. So it's...
Oh, dear God, please. Oh, please.
And I wasn't a fan of the Herman hire to begin with, because if you look back, even when he was at Houston, he could pull off the upset.
Yeah,
he always could pull off the upset. He's still done that at Texas.
Yeah,
he does not play well as a favorite. It is not one of his things.
Which imagine if he would have gone to LSU instead of Coach O.
Oh, but last week they looked bad. They looked undisciplined. I want to say combined in the first 13 plays, there were 8 penalties combined between the two teams. It was an ugly football game.
Yeah.
Wasn't good.
No.
And the funny thing to me living here was Texas fans wallowing in the misery and then 4 hours later laughing at their co-misery with Oklahoma because OU goes to Iowa State. And for the first time, I want to say in almost a decade, they've lost 2 in a row.
And we just got into October.
Yeah. Wow. It's fascinating. The Big 12 is like a car crash right now.
It is a pile up on I-40.
It's not good football, ostensibly, as far as tackling and angles go. And it's compelling. There's interesting games as far as being close. But let me show you one GIF of a West Virginia player tackling his own return man before the ball gets there and causing a muff. And it's not good football.
No.
From a fundamental football perspective, it's not
good. And actually in my article on College in Magnolia, we actually brought up the fact, that exact play that you're speaking of.
Yeah.
And brought up how this reminds us of what circa 2012, 13, 14, 15, Florida.
Yeah.
Blocking each other on a run play.
I'm catching heat from people around here that are friends when I say that. When I say, "Oh, it's not good football," whatever.
It's not.
It's just, and this is the thing I tell people about the Big 12 around here, especially because they don't want to hear it, but it's the truth of the matter. The Big 12 will not get any better until they start recruiting linemen.
Yeah.
Especially defensive linemen.
I tell you what, go back, and this was a very boring game to watch. However, it was great football. Go back and watch that Arkansas-Mississippi State game. That's a good football game. I know that Mississippi State throws the ball around and does everything like that. Still got to have linemen to block for the quarterback. Arkansas is playing good line play on both sides of the ball right now. Ask Georgia about it. Georgia will tell you that they're pretty good. Go back and watch. You could go watch Alabama and Texas A&M. But, any one of these games, NC State and Pittsburgh, you don't have to score 150 points a game for it to be good.
Heck, North Carolina and Boston College was pretty
That was a great
game. Or not North Carolina. Yeah, it was North Carolina Boston College they played.
Mm-hmm.
That was, 26-22 final or something? Boston.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Because BC was going for 2 to tie it up and go to overtime, and then the 2-point conversion went the other way. So it was 26-22. Yep. But those two teams, they played defense, some good explosive offensive play. It was a solid football game to watch. Yep. Is it perfect by any means? No, of course not. But it was a very entertaining, fun game to watch where I didn't feel like whoever had the ball was going to score at all times.
Yeah.
But I also felt there was a threat to score.
Yeah.
Which, you got to make drives, and there was good blocking. There was a run game. There was a mix. I'm just not seeing that the last few years of the Big 12. It's why Oklahoma continues to lose in the playoff. And I've told people around here again, and I'm going to say it again, it's defensive line recruiting. More than anything else, it is defensive line recruiting.
Yeah.
Because unless you've got a 290 or 300-pound guy who can also run a 4.6 and a 4.7, you're not beating Ohio State.
No.
You're not beating Clemson. And I'm not even talking SEC here. Look at the best of the other conferences, particularly the Big Ten and the ACC. Look at what Clemson's doing. Look what Notre Dame has.
Yeah.
Jerry Tillery just got drafted at Notre Dame into, I think he got picked up by the Chargers last year or something like that.
Sounds right.
So that's what you have to do to be competitive at a national level.
Yeah.
Right?
Which if you're going, and this is where I'm going to agree with them, if you're an Oklahoma or a Texas or an outside fringe Oklahoma State, you are a national. You should be worried about the national powers.
Oklahoma and Texas absolutely should be.
Absolutely, they should be. So if your main concern is to win the Big 12, that's cute. You know what Alabama's main focus is? Winning national championships. You know what Clemson's worried about? National championships. You know what Ohio State?
Same thing.
National championships. They're not worried about the Big 10. That'll come as we're going for our big goal.
Michigan is worried about winning the Big 10.
There you go. You're Michigan. And you know how you like to rag on Michigan? That's why. Yeah. Auburn right now is worried about winning SEC championships, and that's why they can't block, why they might as well have 5 cardboard boxes out there at the offensive line.
I get that it's a different style of football, but right now the Pac-12, they remind me of the Pac-10 back maybe a decade ago.
Yeah.
15 years ago when it was just all offense in the Pac-12 and everybody made fun of it. That's exactly what the Big 12 is to me right now.
When Nebraska went down to Arizona State and got beat because they couldn't keep up by scoring 150 points, that makes sense. It absolutely does make sense because that's what it is. It's a non-defensive football that once they meet a defense that's worth anything, folds like a cheap tent.
Yeah. So they had those 2 upsets last week. I'm missing so much from last week. We got to talk about Lane Kiffin's first win as a head coach at Ole Miss. Okay, first of all, Kentucky, the running back who threw up the deuces and then got tackled and they fumbled about a play or 2 later.
Yep.
Yeah, you deserve that.
Yeah, you deserve that one.
I also appreciate the missed extra point, Kentucky. Not only were you my upset pick of the week last week,
yes,
I had you on the money line. So
I
super appreciate Ole Miss coming through there. Yeah.
That's a nice one.
But Lane Kiffin, that was a 42-41 game. We talk about lack of defense, and it's so weird. Like, I don't know what to make of a Lane Kiffin coach football team because Ole Miss hasn't played defense in several years.
Mm-hmm.
The recruiting has been awful on the defensive side. The question I have is, do I expect the defense to get better over time with the lane train there? Because its offense is not something I'm concerned about.
Points are not going to be the concern with Lane Kiffin. It's going to be, can he stop you one more time than he can score?
Yeah.
And I think he's going to run into that this weekend where he can't. He just can't stop anybody. I think as we go on, I think it'll get better because of the people will start telling him about the land sharks and everything like that, and he'll think that they're talking about being a predator in the bar. And then he'll say, "Oh no, you're talking about football." Oh, gotcha.
That's just his Saturday night costume. When
I was about to say
game.
that's spring costume football. Yeah,
goes to sorority houses with it.
I was about to say that's just going to go see the Phi Mu's on a Thursday evening. So I think it'll get better as we go on. I don't expect them to be a top 10 defense. I don't expect them to have a defensive line that has three, a Robert Kendichi, going back to that. I think they're going to be very serviceable, but he's going to need some time because I absolutely agree. Their defensive recruiting has been few and far between over the past couple of years.
So a couple of the games I want to hit on real quick, Drew, from last week before we move on.
Actually, if I can pause you real quick.
Yeah, of course.
I want to jump from Ole Miss in that game to Kentucky in that game.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a Kentucky team that started off the year 23rd, ranked 23rd after we took out all the teams that weren't playing for the moment. So now they're 0-2 with a loss to Auburn and a loss to Ole Miss. They played this weekend at home against Mississippi State, and then they go to Tennessee before coming back home to host Georgia.
Do they start 0-5?
Their next win could be on Halloween night against Missouri.
I mean, I could see them winning this week because
I can see them winning this week. They're a 2-point favorite.
Mike Leach pulled a Mike Leach last week. He did exactly what Mike Leach does. Win a big game one week, come back and score 14 the next week. That's who he is. It's who he's been for decades. Why people thought it would be any different now, I don't understand. Right. But yeah, they're 1-4, 0-5 potential to start. That's rough.
So then so they would play Missouri on Halloween night, Vanderbilt in 2 weeks after that. Then they go Alabama, Florida, and South Carolina to finish.
Oh.
I mean, you could be looking at
wins?
You're looking at 2-3 wins, maybe.
But they'll still make a bowl game because this year. Yeah.
Money for everybody.
Hey, quick little clap for our friends down in Tallahassee picking up a
Absolutely.
win. Rough win. They a big win against Jacksonville State.
They beat the Gamecocks.
They struggled.
They beat the Gamecocks.
They struggled, man.
Which Gamecocks, Drew? No, never mind.
Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State.
It was 14-0 Jacksonville State at one point, and I texted.
It was 21-7 at one point.
Yeah, I remember texting you. I'm like, are you seeing what's happening in Tallahassee?
No. I think that was my response. No.
So that's what we think is their one win for the next month or so.
For the foreseeable future.
Yeah, we'll move on from there. A couple of at least one other upset I want to talk about, and one other close game too before moving on. The Bounce House, not so bouncy last week. Not so bouncy. UCF takes
Where's your Bounce House?
That was an amazing troll by Tulsa. Folks, if you have not seen that yet, go to Tulsa's Twitter and search for the troll at UCF.
Shameless plug. Go to College Magnolia, look for the Boom Roasted, which I write every week on that website. For those guys, fantastic guys. If this is the only thing that you go to that website for, it's an Auburn website. But look for the Boom Roasted, and it's the tweet is in there along with Sam Pittman dressed up as a pirate.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
There was some really good, and it says Arkansas, which was fantastic.
No quarter.
The fact that Tulsa immediately broke out a GIF of our little clip rather of
Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers is just fantastic. But anyway, they go to the Bounce House down in Orlando, pick up a 34-26 win over UCF, and UCF was a 21.5-point favorite, Drew. How do I know that? Yeah, they cost me money.
Got them.
Yeah, they cost me money.
That's okay. I didn't win any of my bets either this past weekend.
I had a few winners, but that was not one of them.
Oof, I had a rough week. With my parlays, at least.
But I don't know what to make of UCF because this is 2 years in a row now. They've dropped some inexplicable games.
Yeah, and I think just like we were talking about with Mike Leach, I think this is just Josh Heupel. I think that he's good to push you through a season and get you those wins, beat a Georgia Tech, win a couple of American games. But he's good for an inexplicable loss every now and then. And that's what this is. They had
no business losing to Tulsa.
No, Tulsa was a team that played Oklahoma State tough, but what is that? No,
and UCF got up early in that game too. That wasn't one where Tulsa led all the way. UCF got up 14-0 real quick, if I remember right.
I was about to say
16-3, something like that. It was
they were up. They were 16-0, and then began the. Then they were up 20. I'm sorry, 23-5 was the biggest lead. After a safety and a field goal by the ninth.
I was feeling so good about 21.5 at 23-5 too, man.
Yep. And then began the very slow descent from 23-12, 23-19, 26-19, and then it was all Tulsa.
Yeah. Two others real quick that I want to talk about. I'll just hit on real fast.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned NC State. They go to Pitt and pick up a win over Pat Narduzzi. A big win. Second touchdown there for NC State to pick up the score 30-29 on the road at Pitt.
A great win for NC State after we pretty much on this show left them for dead. We
were both all over Pitt last week.
Yeah, we were all over Pitt last week. And now the Pack looks sits there at 2-1, looks somewhat somewhat formidable. I dare say. The only thing that I really know about NC State coming into this year is that they probably will beat Florida State. They play Virginia this weekend, so that'll be.
They didn't look bad last week. Actually, they did Clemson. They played Clemson tough.
They played Clemson very tough. The good news for the Pack this year is that they don't play Clemson. They somehow avoid the dreaded Tiger loss. But yeah, they looked really good, played up with Pitt, and Pitt just couldn't stop them in the end, which was really surprising.
Last one I want to hit on, SMU takes down Memphis 30-27 on a last-second field goal. Big win for the Mustangs. They stay undefeated now, 4-0, and kind of in the driver's seat early in the American with that lead on Memphis getting the victory there. And that could play big because remember, in the American, the conference championship games played – it's a home game.
Yeah.
It's not neutral site. And last year, it was Memphis that got that home game.
Got the back-to-back
Cincinnati.
game.
Yeah, they played Cincinnati back-to-back weeks. So that's a big deal.
And a very big win for SMU, big revenge win. Because remember last year that game
it was a game day game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was the game day game. First time it's ever been on Beale Street, if I remember correctly. But real big win for the Ponies. Very proud of them. I've been wearing my pony hat, my SMU hat, around the neighborhood because I can't really wear anything else right now. But yeah, great win for the Ponies.
Let's move on to this coming week here as we get set for what should be the best week of football so far, bar none, top to bottom. Real quick, updates rather on our head-to-head competition for Pick'ems. Drew went 4-1 last week. I went 3-2. So Drew now 13-5-1. I am 14-4-1 against the spread this year. However, I did tie up the upset picks for one apiece as I got the victory with Ole Miss coming through against Kentucky. Drew, I want to start right first. Thursday Night Football. Holgo finally gets on the field. The Houston Cougars, after so many delays and so many canceled games, break them out. Get your comb over ready.
Get that hair slicked back, baby.
Because I think this is one hell of a football game. Tulane goes into Houston, takes on the Cougars tomorrow night. Tonight when this drops. It'll actually
be tonight when this drops. For some Okay, a bit of a soapbox here. I really cannot stand that the NFL has taken over my Thursday night football. Because I can remember.
It's actually a good game every week on Thursday night. It used to be like a really good game.
Yeah, there was always an ACC game or a random SEC game. Auburn played it sometimes when I was a kid. And then you would wait until halftime to see the regional map to see which regional game you got on ABC before you realized that Disney owned the world. Mickey Mouse for all of you South Park fans. Randy. By the way, great episode this past. Fantastic. We watched it. It was awesome. But going back to the best turnover chain of beads, the Tulane Green Wave. I think that this game is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait for it. This will actually break into. This is where I'm going to have two TVs going, where I can watch the Yankees and the Rays tomorrow night, because that will be going into Game 4, pivotal Game 4. And then I also want to watch this Tulane and Houston game just to see what Holgo does. He doesn't have the quarterback that he redshirted last year. He's now in Miami, putting up monster stats with Rhett Lashley. So I want to see what Houston has. It feels weird to say that on October 7th when it feels great outside, but I kind of know what I get with Tulane. They're 2-1 on the year, look good against USA.
60-something points last week.
Yeah. So I'm a big believer in give me what I know and not what I don't know. So if this is a pick'em game, it's not. Okay.
Oh, wait. Actually, I think it is. No, I'm sorry. It is not. I'm looking at the list now. It is not.
Gotcha. Then in that case, I'm just really excited for this one. I think this one will be a fantastic game.
This is my upset special game, man.
Oh!
Yeah, I'm coming out the chute early. I'm with you. I like knowing what I got. I like the fact that this is Tulane's fourth game. I have no idea what Houston's got at quarterback. Tulane is kind of hitting on all cylinders offensively. It's not like a Holgo team is known to play defense ever. Tulane's a 6.5-point dog tomorrow night. Like, that's a money line play if I ever saw one. And I'm willing to roll the dice and take plus 200 odds and screw the points. Give me the money line.
Yeah.
I think Tulane goes and wins this football game tomorrow night.
It's not a bad call. Not a bad call at all.
All right, man, let's move on to Saturday now. A couple of really good ones in the early slot at 11 a.m. Pair of top 25 battles. We will start in the SEC in College Station. Number 4, Florida heads to Texas A&M, ranked number 21. Florida's only a 6.5-point favorite on the road here. This is one of our pick'em games. In fact, both of these first two games we're going to talk about here are pick'em games. Second time Florida's gone to College Station. They were actually A&M's first ever opponent in the SEC.
Yep.
Went in there and won. Florida looked, okay last week against South Carolina. I wouldn't say great. A&M got destroyed by Alabama, but I can forgive that because it's Alabama.
It's Alabama. Yeah.
But they looked bad against Vandy 2 weeks ago. Like, where do you lean here with a 6.5-point spread?
With the 6.5, that's like I said last week. It's not enough. It's not enough. I think Florida wins this one going away. I guess the play is that you're a little bit concerned with how South Carolina was able to hang with Florida, but I
haven't seen enough out of A&M, but they makes me think they can hang.
Exactly. I don't. There's and I know that this is an 11 a.m. ball game. There's a difference between playing at 11 a.m. on the road and playing at 11 a.m. at home.
Yeah.
There are two totally different situations. And we're going to find that out, and this will be on display against the Florida Gators.
So I've been to A&M when it's full for an 11 a.m. kickoff, a 2:30 kickoff, and a night kickoff. I've been there 4 or 5 times for games now. It's very different at 11 a.m.
Yeah,
even there. And I'm not one that thinks that A&M is an overly intimidating place to play for opposing teams. It can get loud. I've heard louder.
Mm-hmm.
It's big. Okay. Like, it's a nice stadium, especially since they rebuilt it and tore it down, because I went once before the complete rebuild. And I've been a few times now since the complete rebuild, and it's super nice. You've been there too.
It's a great stadium.
It's a very nice stadium to watch a football game. I just don't find the place to be that intimidating. Now, take into account you don't have the full stadium for fans. You're giving me the better quarterback in Kyle Trask, the better, I think, offensive coach in Dan Mullen. Because, I don't believe in Jimbo. He needed a transcendent quarterback to win the title, and even then they still lost the game.
That close to losing to should have lost to Gus Malzahn and Auburn. No, you're talking about.
I don't think 6
Yeah.
enough.
No, I don't think it is. You're talking about a guy that really has not shown me any good reason why he gets that job.
Not for $75 million guaranteed.
No, not for that much money. I totally agree. I need to be shown by Jimbo that he's worthy of all of these accolades that everybody throws on him before I can just give them to him.
I'm actually more interested in the other game between top 25 teams at 11 a.m. And there's 3 of them. I should say there's 2 of them, and there's another big one at 11 a.m. too. There's 3 really good football games at 11. And I'm talking Central Time here, folks, noon on the East Coast. Virginia Tech, ranked number 19 in the country, goes to Chapel Hill. They play North Carolina, ranked number 8. Both of these teams had to scrape by for victories last week. Virginia Tech on the road, just a few miles away from Chapel Hill. They went to Durham and beat Duke by 7. North Carolina on the road at Boston College. You talked about that game earlier, where they had to survive a 2-point conversion attempt at the end to pick up a victory. This is a line, Carolina -5.
This one's a tough one.
This one, real tough.
This is one that I will not touch with real live money.
I already have.
I'm interested to hear your take on this one then. Because I love Virginia Tech's defense this year, just from they're 2-0. I just love what they've been able to do this year, especially in that NC State game where they just came out and took apart NC State and really put us on the tailspin that pushed us to last week with NC State. Now that really makes me go, is Virginia Tech really that good? North Carolina has just kind of middled along with Syracuse, and then last week against Boston College, just kind of been there. They're in that.
Boston College is bad. I think they're
No. No, I agree with you. I don't think they're bad at all. That said, that Boston College is a team North Carolina should take care of. So that pushes me to the Hokies. Even though they're playing in Chapel Hill amongst the pine trees on top of the hill, I just love the way Virginia Tech's playing so far this year. I know that they struggled a little bit last week, but I'm just going to go blindly on Virginia Tech.
I got the money line on Virginia Tech already while it was still around plus 200.
Oh.
It opened up a little high.
Okay.
Taste. And I think they win this thing straight up. And I think they're better on the offensive line. It can control the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina's D and hold the football. But here's the real interesting thing when you dig down in this game. ESPN FPI, which gets into all the stats and different stuff like that, it gives you percentages to win. They have Virginia Tech favored to win this football game, 53-47, percentage-wise. Not
Okay.
Points, but 53% to 47%. Virginia Tech wins this football game. So better than a coin flip that Virginia Tech goes on the road and wins this via the FPI. And now you're going to give me 5.5 points. I'll take them all.
Yeah.
I think they win straight up. I don't think they need them. I think they win this thing straight up. But I think Virginia Tech's the better football team here.
Yeah. No, I mean, you heard me just kind of rationalize it as we were going throughout because just with the proceedings of this week, I haven't had a chance to really break down the games like I normally do, or at least these games coming up. I did more of my research on the previous week. So no, I completely agree with you, especially hearing your side of it. No, I will definitely, in fact, just go on ahead. Next pick.
Next pick is also the 11 a.m. game up at the Cotton Bowl. I'm looking at this now. It's the cheapest I've ever seen tickets for Texas and OU.
You mean unranked against number 22?
Well, so here's the deal. If you guys, and I'm sure everybody knows this watching this, Texas OU is typically around the Texas State Fair. So you have all this other stuff going on when you walk in. But still, it's Texas OU in Dallas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a game normally face value is $150
at least.
And then, you're going to pay more to get in. Now remember, reduced capacity, all that kind of stuff. Drew, we can get in for 110 if you want to do something Saturday.
Oh my gosh.
You want to meet me in Dallas?
Yeah, I'll just fly over. Yeah. I need to get out of this hurricane thing anyway, so.
I mean, I'll pick you up at Love Field. We'll just go watch the game.
Like you and I could go for $110? Like you and a date?
It's 110 a piece.
Okay. I was about to say, if it's $60 or $55 a piece,
could be by kickoff.
It probably will be by kickoff.
Anywho, this is one of our pick'em games as well.
Oh
yeah. OU comes in a 2.5-point favorite.
Oh gosh.
I have nowhere to do where to go with this one.
Oh no. So, like the guy that was just realizing all the things with Trump getting COVID. Oh no, this is this could be bad. So you're telling me that the 22nd ranked team, the team with the better record, the team that's actually won 2 games and is not on a 2-game losing streak, is getting 2.5 points in their home state?
Yeah, and so Dallas is legitimately directly halfway between.
It is.
It's not like the cocktail party.
Yeah, it's not like the cocktail party where it's literally an hour from Gainesville and 5 hours from Georgia.
Yeah, living in Austin, I can tell you it's a 6-hour drive to Oklahoma City. Norman's 20 minutes from Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dallas is 3 hours from here as well in Austin. So it's halfway.
Okay. But going back, I still don't understand everybody's affinity for Jacksonville if you're a Georgia fan. I would get that game out of Jacksonville, move it to Savannah for your home game. But anyways,
stadium. You have to build one just for that game.
That's fine. Do it. Don't play in Jacksonville. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Oklahoma. I don't know why. I guess
solid logic.
I guess because I trust Spencer Rattler just a touch more, and I don't trust Tom Herman at all. Even though we just said he doesn't play as a favorite, but he plays as an underdog, and technically he's an underdog here, even though he's the higher ranked team. So
I taken the horns.
And
actually it's for the opposite reason you just said. I trust Sam Ehlinger just a little bit more than I do Spencer Rattler.
Okay. Which, don't get me wrong, that's logical.
Yeah. I think it's going to be an entertaining football game. It's going to be awful.
I tell you what,
if OU loses, are they out of the Big 12?
Yes, yes they are.
Oh,
no,
fun stat
okay.
of the day, by the way. I just have to get this out of here.
Sure.
When was the last year that Nebraska played in the Big 12?
Was that 2012, 13?
2011, right around that.
2011, 2012, somewhere around in there.
They're still tied for third all-time in most Big 12 championships. Moving on. As Drew gives me the state. Yeah. That's my favorite thing that I found this past weekend. All right. Next pick'em game. We'll go back to Athens. It's the CBS afternoon game. We talked briefly about this earlier. Let's dive into it now. Georgia, a 12.5-point favorite over Tennessee. The ball's coming into town.
I'm going to catch some flack on this one from you. No, you're not. No, you won't. Georgia will win this ball game. I'm going to pick Georgia to win on the money line. but I'm going to take Tennessee and the 12.5 or 13 that they're giving because that's way too much. This will be a 7-point ball game, in my opinion. Again, Georgia's defense is elite. They are an elite defense. They were able to put pressure. Bo Nix is still having nightmares about Georgia, much like he was last year as well, just 10 months ago. But Tennessee's offensive line is really good. Like, they are a 5-star offensive line. Look at the recruiting. They're a 5-star offensive line. I know it's shocking, but they are. Their defense is very good. They shut down Missouri, a Missouri team that people said, no, they're not that bad because look at, they played with Alabama a little bit. Tennessee shut them down anytime that they tried to stand up. They took care of business and kept their nose clean. I think this will be a really good football game. I really do. I think Tennessee's got a shot. I don't think they pull it off unless Georgia is completely focused on Tuscaloosa, which could be. Especially with the only thing Auburn fans can crow about is that, hey, you guys can beat us all you want, but at least we can beat Alabama. At least that's what I've been saying whenever I want to stand up to Tennessee or Georgia fans because so I think Georgia wins this football game because that's what my football brain tells me whenever I look at everything on paper. But I do not think this will be a 12, 13-point ball game like the line says.
I think this is a 10-point game.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. I think this is 10 seems right.
Yeah.
It's going to be low scoring. The over-under is only like 42.
Honestly. Which is right.
Yeah,
that is correct. I think that's correct.
And I might even take the under, to be honest with you. If I were to play it, that's this game I'd stay away from as far as actually putting money down on either one. Just because, Georgia could, that 12.5, you're talking touchdown, 2 field goals, and boom, you're out.
Well, or you get something like what happened with Auburn where, they get, let's say Nigel Warrior gets thrown out of the game for Tennessee, and all of a sudden their defense looks like Auburn's.
Yeah. So we're both in the same spot, though. Vols to cover, Georgia to win. 2 other games to talk about before we wrap up here. One of them really, I don't think either one of us are doubting that Alabama is going to win this football game. The fun question, do they hit the over? Alabama at Ole Miss. Right now, it's down to 70.
Hit the button. Hit the button hard.
So I texted my dad last week after the Alabama-Ole Miss games finished up. I said, at what number are you comfortable finally betting the under on the game next week? He goes, 80? And I'm like, I don't know. 80 might be low.
That's if this one isn't 40-35 or 42-35 or 49
on their own. This is like 50-30 to me or something.
Yeah,
like
this
that.
is 50-34, something like 52-34, something dumb.
Alabama's giving away too many points. I think 24 is way too many.
I think so too.
And that's because Ole Miss's offense is good enough to score.
Well, and that Lane will go Dan Quinn with it and try to get that last garbage touchdown just to mess up everybody's line.
Yeah. My surefire play of the week, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame's going to cover 20.5 against Florida State.
You're damn right they will. You're damn right.
My surefire play. And then our final pick of the week, biggest game of the weekend as well. Number 7, Miami. The U. We're going to find out if they're really back. They go to the fake Death Valley. Sorry.
Yeah.
Real Death Valley.
It's not. Beautiful stadium.
Yeah.
But
real Death Valley's in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, it is.
Like, don't play well, Clemson, or keep your hands off that grubby rock as Clemson host Miami. Clemson's a 14-point favorite.
That seems just like the Georgia game. That seems a touch high. I think that this will be a 10-point ball game. I think Clemson wins just because they're Clemson. And as my dog tries to breathe on me, I really cannot wait for this game. This is my game of the week. Which it's the national game of the week. This is the game that I'm looking forward to the most just because I get to find out what Clemson is, what Miami is, and if Miami can hang. And that's been my question ever since they played Louisville. Can this Miami team actually hang? I think they can. I don't think that they can win. However, just like we said in the offseason as Auburn fans, at least we get to play Georgia and Alabama in front of just 20,000 people instead of the 80, 90, 100,000 that normally would be there. So Death Valley's not all that deathy. It's more, just kind of viral, which I know that that's kind of a weird word to say in our current situation, but it's more like a bacterial infection instead of a Death Valley. It's more like getting staph. It stinks and it can get you, but just take your antibiotics and wash properly. So I think this is going to be a 7 to 10 point ball game. I think Rhett Lashley and King and the rest of that Miami offense are going to keep them in the game. The question will be, can the Miami defense get turnovers on Trevor Lawrence? That's going to be the real thing that I'm watching out for.
So I'm with you in your analysis and the points. I think Miami covers, that Clemson wins. Clemson only won by 17 last week against Virginia.
Yeah.
It's not like they were world beaters in that football game. I know Virginia won the division last year, but
sure,
still not
whatever
level. Miami recruits better has been recruiting better. They've got a better coaching staff than Virginia does. As much as I like Bronco Mendenhall, it's not the same as what they have going down in Miami. I think Diaz has the defense ready to play. I don't think they're going to win, but this is a good measuring stick game for Miami specifically. And we still got Miami, Notre Dame later, and Clemson, Notre Dame, so that's going to shake itself out as who gets to sacrificial land Clemson and Charlotte later this year. But this will be a fun game for a minimum 3 quarters.
Absolutely.
And it's something that we don't get to see too often in the regular season, and that's Clemson being pushed. So I'm really looking forward to it. I love the fact there's nothing on Friday night that I care about as far as like a game to watch. I'll keep an eye on Mississippi State and Kentucky. I'll keep an eye on Florida State and Notre Dame. I don't know why the ACC would allow Notre Dame to schedule Florida State at night the same time Miami and Clemson are playing, just from a eyeballs perspective.
That's a very interesting point.
I know Notre Dame has their own TV contract, but ACC needs to step in there and say, hey, that needs to be an afternoon game.
Yeah, because that's NBC saying, well, that's 2 names, Florida State and Notre Dame. This was the game of the century in '93, yada, yada, yada.
That's exactly what it is, but it's bad. One game that got postponed, by the way, because of the hurricane, I want to hit on because we won't hit on it before the next week drop. I love this game on the money line. Coastal Carolina against Louisiana Lafayette. Coastal Carolina is getting like plus 220 right now. They've been hammering fools.
I
don't know if you guys saw what they did last week. But they took Arkansas State, the same Arkansas State that went and beat K-State. They took the woodshed last week. Brought 52. Louisiana has struggled their last 2.
Yep.
They needed overtime to beat
Georgia State.
And then they needed a miracle
52-yard field goal
to win the next game. Who was that one against?
That was against Georgia Southern.
Georgia. Okay. So not like Louisiana's been playing good football. Give me Coastal all freaking day.
That's a very good call. And to wrap up, I'm going to be lame and say Mississippi State's my upset pick. They're -2 against Kentucky. I think Mike Leach grabs him by the face mask and says, "See what happens whenever you don't listen in practice." Just don't throw them into a room.
Girlfriends and
probably just don't throw them into a room or anything like that, Mike.
So I think I may have told you I was at the bowl game the year that all happened. I was on the sidelines at the Alamo Bowl when Michigan State played Texas Tech after all that news broke.
Yep. And you got tortillas thrown at you.
Yeah, I got frozen tortillas thrown at me on the field. It was ridiculous. I have never seen an angrier fan base in my life than when all that stuff broke.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. You leave Lubbock and you go to San Antonio, which...
big city down in San Antonio, man.
Which I don't know if you've been to San Antonio. Nice city, but A city on the rise. That place. Whew. That place has the nightlife of Branson. Oh,
I mean, okay, San Antonio. If you want some amazing, authentic tacos, I'm not talking
absolutely
Mex or anything like that. I'm talking like authentic.
Absolutely.
There may not be a better city in this country.
No, you're dead on there.
All right, and I'm a guy that lives in Austin. We love our tacos here.
Love your food. Big food fan.
San Antonio is better for the tacos.
Really?
Oh yeah, I haven't taken you to certain places. Man.
I was about to say you haven't taken me to these certain places.
I gotta get you down. I usually keep you away from San Antonio when you come for reasons.
Well, that happens.
But yeah, there's not a whole lot else going on down there.
No. No. It's literally got the nightlife of. I'm trying to think of a really solid town that would encapsulate Jackson, Tennessee. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's about.
I don't think I live an hour away, and I don't think I've been there since I went to the Final Four. And that was only just because the Final Four was there.
Yeah, why wouldn't you go to the Final Four?
Yeah, sure, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
So, all right, folks. Well, that'll wrap up this week's episode. Thanks so much for joining us as we ramble on. We can talk about and crap on San Antonio all night, but we can do it any time as well.
That's called the off. There's a time and place for that, and that's called the off season.
Hey, but you do get the Alamo Bowl every year, and it always is entertaining.
It is one of my second favorite bowl games to watch. I don't know why I always enjoyed it as a kid, but I love that.
Stupid. There's always
something dumb that happens.
And traditionally, before the Peach Bowl took it, it was always like the last game on Christmas or New Year's Eve or something like that.
Yeah, like right before you had to go back to school for that 1 or 2 days before you got back off.
By the way, with the loss, are we now officially rooting for Auburn to go 5-5 so we can go to the
you think?
Yeah, Vegas Bowl, baby.
Vegas Bowl. Here we come.
SEC's got a Vegas tie-in now. Who cares about anything else?
It's playoffs or Vegas Bowl? No, I think I saw somebody say
Missouri. About the Outback Bowl. Let's go to Vegas.
Forget that trash. Give me Vegas. I want to play in the Death Star and gamble my ass off all week. Come on.
Dude, I'm not even kidding you because I've seen it already. The stadium is directly across the highway from the Mandalay.
You damn right it is. I want to go drink Coronas with John Gruden. Coach,
and it
light me up.
Still, too.
Oh.
Yeah. The Knights, by the way, play right on the Strip. The arena's right on the Strip. Like, you know how the arena is in Nashville?
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
The hockey arena is between what used to be the Park MGM, I think it may still be the Park MGM, and New York.
So do we, I'm going to divert from our college football talk. Do we have a start date for the NHL yet? I haven't, because I haven't seen. I need to look. We'll look.
So the AHL team near my house here is saying December. They're saying December.
Okay. Then in that case, it would be feasible.
Let's go 5-5, baby.
5-5. Here we go.
Let's go 5-5.
Here we go. Come on, woo pig suey. Woo pig. Woo pig.
All right, folks, don't forget to follow us everywhere you can on YouTube. Search Friends of the Program. Give us a follow, like, and subscribe. Same for Spotify and iTunes. Or you can make sure you follow us on Twitter as well, at FOT Podcast. Same for Instagram. We're always putting stuff out on game days, especially on Saturdays, tweeting out random stuff that we see. Hilarity, general. You would have seen the 2 West Virginia players crashing into each other last week.
Which was fantastic.
As soon as we found it, we put it out there.
Yeah.
Any last words, my friend?
I think that's it. Just enjoy this weekend. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, just enjoy the weekend. You don't know how many of these you get. But this is a very special one. It's literally from the moment you roll out of bed and make your first bourbon drink till a good, I'm going to say 9 or 10 o'clock. You've got nothing but good football across the board. At least one game matches top 25 teams. Throughout the day. Yeah, literally. You have top 25 matchups throughout the day. So just enjoy one of these days. These are the real rare ones.
Yep, this is going to be one of those Saturdays we look back on as the season progresses, and I think we kind of go, this was a break. It's just a little bit of a separation type Saturday. And
Separation Saturday.
As we cut some losses and some teams out of the playoff, or out of the playoff conversation, maybe add a few, and see who's for real and who isn't. Well, for Drew McCracken, I'm Brad Silvey saying, see you later, folks. We so much appreciate you joining us. Thanks for spending the time. We'll join you again next week and probably crap on San Antonio some more. See ya.
Well, probably.